Laura Ray, and we're going to talk about how to get better looking skin with makeup. There are so many videos out there on YouTube that claim you're going to have flawless skin or perfect skin. I just am never going to have perfect skin or flawless skin, but I have so many great tips to share with you and some products that I'm using that I think really improve the look of my skin. To me, that's part of the reason for makeup is we want to maybe conceal some discoloration, highlight certain features that we feel are better features. So I want to share with you some things that I'm using that I think are really great. First, I consider lips part of having beautiful skin. And recently I purchased this. I'm just loving it. So I'm going to put it on while we put on makeup. It's from Physicians Formula, and they call it a tinted lip conditioner. I just love the feel of this, and I think you'll agree the color is pretty universal, that it looks gorgeous on anyone. There is that buttery scent to it, like the Butter Cosmetics. I want to let you know that. But look at how pretty. Now, something I've been doing more recently is the reason why I didn't blend this out very well is I've been using a lip brush from Sonia Kashuk, and on one side it's wider for initially applying the lipstick, and then it has a finer point to go around the edges like that. Those areas can be so tricky as we mature. We have fine lines and wrinkles in that area. Lip gloss will sort of stick together. So I like to just take the brush, put it more in the middle of the lips, and then spread it to the outer corners. While I can't wear the butter bronzers anymore, the fragrance just stops up my sinuses. It's just too much for me and my sensitivities. The lip gloss doesn't seem to bother me, or the lip conditioner, that's what they call it. So it's not a lip oil. It's not a lip gloss. It's somewhere in the middle. It feels very moisturizing on the lips. I think the packaging is really cute too. It sort of looks like ice. So I'm loving it. And I only saw one shade at Target. That's where I purchased this. Now let's talk about the skin, because that's what's going to be the focus today. I've already done my eyes earlier because I wanted to just focus on the skin on our face. And I'm going to come up close, and I want to sort of point out my flaws or things that I don't really like about my skin that other people might notice. First of all, I have most of my lines are in the forehead, and I just have a very expressive face. And you can imagine after 30 years of school teaching and raising your eyes at kids and doing those things, you'd have some lines there too. So I have some of that going, texture in the forehead. I have a little bit of discoloration here in the cheeks. And of course, broken capillaries. I suffer with allergies. So my nose, I'm always fighting some kind of redness. And the lines are getting a little bit deeper in this area. So this is some of what I'm working with. I had a blemish there. And occasionally, even at my age, almost 60, I will still get a breakout. Usually it has to do with some product clogging my skin, but it could be due to stress too. And one right there. So I'm dealing with a lot of the same issues many of you are. So when I go to apply my products, I've tried so many different ways. Sometimes I'm using brushes, sometimes sponges. This is where I have most of my pores right in here that show. To keep that from happening, I've been finding that a damp sponge is working great. And this one's from Sonia Kashuk. I love Sonia Kashuk products. I wish she was still making her makeup, but back in 2015, I believe, she sold the company to Target. So they no longer carry her makeup. I was a huge fan, but I love her tools. And this is really nice because it's got a good point that I can get up in the under eye like this to really get that area smooth, because that's an area I think most women struggle with if they're my age. the product getting into the little fine lines and creases in that area. But also you have this flatter side where you can really pounce and push the product in. I like this for around the mouth too and around the nose. It really works fantastic. This comes in a set of 3, by the way, so there's 2 others that I have, and they're wonderful. But let's start off with this Joa. I've never talked about this before. It's a recent purchase. It's their BB cream. I purchased the medium shade with neutral undertones. My skin is very neutral. I can wear silver or gold, and I like them about the same. Today I'm wearing a little bit of both in the ears. But they're also cruelty-free, and a lot of you have asked me to share more cruelty-free makeup, so they are cruelty-free. You have a nice little squeezy tube. I'm going to just put a little bit out here. It's not super runny, but it's not thick either. And what I'll do is just dab. The sponge is slightly damp, and I'm going to start in the middle where I need the most coverage and sort of blend it out lighter and fade it into the neck. So that's the best way that I've found. Then I don't have to put on many layers. Now I do bring it up under the eyes. I know some people don't because they want to put concealer there, and I've done it that way too. But this particular product gives me enough coverage where I find I don't need a concealer. But I'll show you one that I love if you do need a concealer, if you feel that's something that would help you out. So I'm just blending it, sort of pouncing it into the face. Let me know in the comments. I'm just so curious, what are your skincare struggles? Most of my life, acne was a struggle for me. Now, one thing that I think really helped was I went off dairy just because I found out I had a dairy allergy when I broke out in a rash. And after I went off the dairy, it seemed like my skin just did so much better. But I only did that out of necessity. I miss the dairy, trust me. Okay, and I'm just sort of blending a little bit. I want to show you half my face so you can see what a difference this little bit of product makes. I'm using so little. That's another thing. I think years ago I used to use so much product. I've gotten away from that. I use as little as possible, just enough to cover any pigmentation, discoloration. And I think this is looking good. I could probably use a little more in this area here. So just lightly tap on some and just sort of go in a circle. So look at this side compared with that. What a difference. All this redness here gone. I really like this. I haven't done a wear test video on this for the shorts. I will, but I did my own wear test just here at home, and I was so impressed with the way that the Joa looked at the end of the day. So sort of a spoiler, but I will do a wear test on the shorts channel. I do a lot of wear tests, so if you're interested in that, then I think you might enjoy those videos. They're just about a minute each, but they show me putting the makeup on at the beginning of the day before I leave for school, and then showing it at the end of the day when I'm coming home, maybe 11 hours, 12 hours later. What's your favorite way to apply foundation? I did try this with my fingers, but I actually prefer the way this looks with a sponge. You get a much heavier application with a brush, and I'm finding that maybe I need to go back to a sponge because as I'm aging and having more fine lines and those kinds of things, this seems to get a little better of a look for me. Just go in and cover this a little bit. The Joa, by the way, is so affordable. I purchased it off of Amazon, and I will have all the links for everything in the description of the video if you're interested or you want to read more about anything I talk about today. Now, another thing you can do is you apply this, sort of roll the sponge. I like to do that in the under eyes. It sort of just takes off any extra. Just like rolling cookie dough. And then I always get around the hairline. Living in Florida, it's very windy most of the time, and so I like to make sure my makeup's blended well around the neck and the hairline. Okay, so there is the Joa. That's our first step to improving the look of our skin. Let's talk about concealer. I've been talking about the Fiera. I love that, but I wanted to bring back the Winky Lux. This is also another great affordable concealer. This is the shade Light Beige. And I'm going to go on top of the areas where I need a little more coverage just to show you how that can improve. Now, this is actually lighter than the foundation. When I wear lighter foundations, this blends beautifully. It's a little light for this, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on, especially around the nose. If you need a fuller coverage, you could always go in with a brush like Angie's. This is the A506, and just sort of push the product in. That'll give you a little more coverage than a sponge would. I'm just going to blend this out so it meshes better with the foundation. We can even top. I've got a little bit of the foundation left. I'll just go over my nose with that a little. Blend it together. Let's go in with the Winky Lux under the eyes. I'm going to put a little bit on the sponge. Like I said, you barely need any. And I'm just going to brush up in the corners, sort of lift the eye. And lift this side. That's where I tend to get a little darkness. And you can just look so much more awake if you apply a little bit, maybe a shade lighter than your normal complexion in that area, a shade or shade and a half. Another area where I get dark because my eyes are so deep set is in here. So I'm just going to go see what a difference that makes. Just look like I've had more sleep. And now I'll just put some in the under eye a little bit. I think that a cream blush can give such a better look to your skin. It really can take it up a notch, make it look dewy and fresh. I've been wearing this one from Make Beauty, and it's just so gorgeous. This shade is called Heat Stroke Slush, it says. And I'm going to put it right on the skin so you can really see the color. I think it's just gorgeous. I'm going in with this Sonia Kashuk brush. This came in a set, super affordable. And I'm just pushing the product in. When I apply my blush now, instead of going like this across the skin, I just take the brush and do more like this, like little circles. And it helps the blush, I think, to blend in with the skin a lot better and not have a line of blush. Let's put a little more on. Isn't that a beautiful color? I just think it's so pretty. And it's one that I feel would work on every skin tone. It may be a little light if you have a deeper skin tone, or you might need to apply a little bit more. But if you have fair skin to medium skin, I think this shade is just beautiful. And now you have a nice glowy look that just takes your skin to the next level. I personally love brighteners that are more natural looking. I recently purchased this one from ColourPop. It's called the Stick, or Light Stick rather. And it's in the shade Glazy, and it's more of a gold. I'll show you. I'll put quite a bit on so you can really see it. But it's got a gold look to it. But we're going to put just a little bit, and I'm tapping it onto the brush. And look how pretty that is. That just elevates the skin without putting too much on. I think if you just put a little bit to where when you turn, there's a little bit of a glow to the skin, I think it really elevates your look. Another very affordable product I've been trying recently is from Essence. It's called their Bright Eye Stick. Now, I would never draw underneath my eyes with this. This is something for a mature woman I feel needs to be applied very strategically. It's a lot like the Catrice that's in the pot, but it's in a stick form. So what I'm going to do, you can see here what I mean. It's one of the creamy brighteners, like the one from Becca Smashbox that's in the glass container. Well, this is in stick form. So what I do is just get a little on the back of my hand or put some on the brush like this, and then you can just put it wherever you need a little more brightness. So those areas where we put the concealer before in the inner corner and outer corner, I'm just going to put this. And of course, you could use this alone without using the concealer. I often will use brightener and no concealer, just a little something strategically placed to brighten the eyes. I like to keep it in the inner and outer corner like this, so it adds a little brightness. And then you can even use the warmth of your finger. I use the ring finger just to pat it in, and then you get some brightness. Now you could use this in other areas of the face, like the bridge of the nose. Let me take my lip brush and I'll just put a little bit right here, just to brighten that area. You also could put this under the brow if you wanted a little lift there. You don't use much of this. A little bit goes a long way. We're going to try out a new lipstick today. It's from Makeup by Mario. New to me. It's not a new shade. It's the shade Midtown. Now, I don't usually wear lipstick this light, but it's a very popular shade. I wanted to see how it would look. I'm going to first go with a lip liner from Charlotte Tilbury. This is one of her new ones, Icon Baby. I'm telling you, this lip conditioner from Physicians Formula really left my lips feeling smooth. So when I put that lip liner on, it was just gliding. And this is the lip liner. Now let's go in with the Makeup by Mario. This is a very light, creamy nude, but let's see if we can make it work for me. I think this matches beautifully with the lip pencil from Charlotte. This is a little different look for me, so I sort of like it for a change. I think that's really pretty. Let's see how this look all came together. One last product I wanted to share with you that I started using recently that I think is incredible for giving better skin, better looking skin, is this powder from Pat McGrath. I had heard Lisa J doing a video, I think it was on Instagram, where she showed this powder and she talked about how finely milled it was, and it just sounded like something that would help my skin. So I purchased it and I'm loving it. I don't typically like powders. They're usually heavier and they make my skin look heavier. Yet I struggle with an oily T-zone or sometimes these dewier foundations, keeping them in place. So what I like to do is take that same damp Sonia Kashuk sponge, just go into the powder, and I've already done a little bit on my cheeks, and just sort of roll it in the cheeks. And then I can even put it on those outer corners to help that makeup stay better during the day. But I just think this really improves the look of my skin and makes it look better when powders usually don't. There's only been a few that I've really liked, and this is one of them. So it really works great. If you were to put it in the under eyes, I would recommend either using the damp sponge and going into it, or even lightly dusting some on a brush, tapping it off, and then going over the skin. Now you can always do what we call finger powdering. Take your finger, go over very lightly over the powder, and just press. Another thing I've enjoyed doing for my eye makeup to make that last longer and look better is go into the powder, tap it off, and go on to eyeshadow and just blend it out. This not only helps with blending, but also with the longevity of the eyeshadow. I'm really happy with these products I used today. I think they improved the look of my skin, and that's what I was going for. I just want confidence when I go out that my skin looks the best that I can make it look. There is no perfect skin. I checked that off my list a long time ago. I hope that this video will inspire you to just have fun with your makeup and let go of this idea of perfect skin. Nobody has perfect skin. I appreciate you all so much. Let me know in the comments too which product I showed today that you're really interested in, that you thought was something that might work for you too. I appreciate you all so much and love you. Take care of yourself, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.